Thank you so much, Thomas. I guess you can hear me, right? Yes, thanks.
And can you hear me?
Awesome. Yeah, so we're going to try and be very practical about how we can achieve a fast implementation of new production lines and automation projects. And just to give you a short overview before we go into the details, this is really about catching some of the major errors and flaws very, very early stage. And we simply do this in the implementation of automation and production lines in the very, very early stages where we can involve a ton of end users, where it's traditionally not done so. Traditionally, they would first experience the solution at the end.
At a later time when the operators come into and see the equipment.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just quickly so you know who we are.
Yeah.
I am from Robotic Simulations, and it is my company that helps companies like Allan's, Biele, that create automation. We help them implement XR in their automation projects.
Yeah, and I'm Allan Carstensen, and I'm from transformative, who is a part of Biele Group. And I have been working as a senior project manager in engineering for many years, and I've done a lot of projects. So I have experience in how to do it in the old way and what can go wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Before we move on, does anybody work in the manufacturing of the company they work at? You do? Okay, so, all right, cool. Well, simply what we're trying to do is basically visualize the upcoming automation project or production line to our end users, very early stage. So, simply taking a 3D model, putting it in HoloLens, and showcasing it. For people like you that come to these events, this seems very, very simple, and it is. The truth is, though, that the production companies still do not utilize enough of this method. And it's very important because you can visualize, test, and coordinate any physical implementation a lot quicker. Before we speak too much,
Yeah.
I'll just, do you want to say?
No.
We'll just jump to a video quickly showcasing what we mean. I think that's fine. Yeah, so this is not new to you, right? AR, cool. So what we want to do right now is talk a few points about why we should use AR in the engineering phase when you want to implement a production line or an automation project. And me and Allan will ping pong.
Pinpoint a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
When I started doing projects, it was done in 2D. It's some years ago. And if we were lucky, there was one other guy who could see what was on the drawing. Yeah, okay, super. And then 3D came, and then we could see it on the screen. But what we are doing now is much better.
Yeah. So, as it says, high understanding of new solutions. The question is, why is this important? And if you've ever been in a project where you need to implement a new line or a new robot, you need your end users to understand the solution very thoroughly, because you risk that they say yes to a design where they actually should have said no. And you will first discover that you made a mistake when the solution is built and actually stands out there on the line. And as you know, that's much more costly than doing a editing of the 3D model.
Yeah. And then we can have communication. Yeah, I have to do it. Yeah. It's much easier to have a communication when you can put this equipment on the heads of the operators, and then they can see what they get. Often the people that are going to use the equipment, they don't have the education that engineers have, so they see the machine from another point. So now they can see what they get in the end at an early time.
Exactly. I don't know how many of you work at large companies, but we've helped quite large organizations where you have maybe 10 different roles that have a say in your automation project. Even if it's a simple project, you actually need these 10 roles to agree on a solution. And then within the role, there might be 2 or 3 people for each role. So quickly it becomes a large group of maybe 30 people that actually have a say in your project. And we have seen, instead of using weeks to explain your solutions, we can just invite everyone out to the line and review a design and confirm it within a couple of hours. Then the other point, the basis for evaluation. The way that we do design reviews is not just by showcasing it to the end users. We have done that, and we have made mistakes by that, because it turned out to be so that the end users thought it was really, really cool with the animations. They actually didn't get to understand the solution, so they signed off on something that later on became an issue, and we had to change it. So now we have a very rigid process of doing it, where we actually get the operators to do the physical work, where we outline the actual work that they will have to do when the robot is installed, and we actually get them to physically go and do it, and we look and analyze. And in that way, we ensure that they get through every single point that is important.
Yeah, and often it is, when you do it in an old way, you're lucky if you get 1 or 2 from the production, because it had so long time to show them the new solution. Now you can get all the operators on the new equipment to see the new equipment, and then they can all come with their comments to it. And in the old way, it's often the one who is shouting the loudest who get their input into the solution. But now we ask them, everybody, all of them, so we get all of I would say, a sum of input into the equipment, and that's higher the standard of the equipment.
Yeah, we almost kind of just mentioned this point, but testing and user involvement. Also, if any of you have done these projects, if you don't involve everybody, you risk a lot of resistance throughout your project. And I've experienced that the 2 reasons you need user involvement. The first is obvious, and the second one I didn't expect. The first is, of course, to confirm that your solution will actually be working by getting feedback. But the second reason you need user involvement is you'll be making a ton of mistake throughout your project. There are so many things to consider that it really doesn't matter how smart you are,
No.
you will just be making some mistakes.
You get a lot of ownership into the project. It's not the project manager's machine, it's the whole team's machine, because everybody have seen it before it's been bought.
Exactly, and that's why people will not attack you as a project manager for making mistakes, because everybody has been involved, and it just makes the process go a lot smoother. Last point is flow and process optimization. I'll explain this very simply, but again, for a lot of you, it might even seem banal to mention this, but we've had projects where whole production lines are to be installed in a room where there is actually not place around the production line to feed in the material. It sounds ridiculous, but the reason it happens is because you have some project managers that are working with no experience in how to test the solutions. And the way I've seen some projects go wrong is that you think that you need to have space from the wall to the production line to fit a pallet, but you simply forget the palletizer that takes more space and the human behind the palletizer that even takes some space. And we had a project where the room was too small because the 2D drawing of the room, they had sent the wrong drawing to the supplier 1.5 years ago. And this might be like, that's very, very stupid. But that's not the issue. The issue is not that you're making a mistake. The issue is that you previously didn't have the tools to check if you made mistakes. So we just assume that we make mistakes, and then we try to use AR to find the biggest mistakes in the early stages.
Yeah, you have tried the cheap one of this. I have tried it when the equipment came and it couldn't fit into a room, and it was very costly. When you find out at an early time, it's only on paper.
Yep. Yeah. So to recap more visually, in the old traditional method, you would get feedback from 1 or 2 representatives. So you have an operator group of maybe 30 or 50 people, but you only can get 1 or 2 to join your project because the operators need to work out on the line. They cannot just jump in meetings with the engineers all the time. In the new method, we can physically go down to the production line, and throughout the course of 1 or 2 days, taking all the shifts, within a few hours per shift, we can have everybody to participate in the design review. And you actually want to do a quantitative design review, because we've seen that even in a case, even the 35th person that did the design review had some unique feedback about it. So for design reviews, traditionally it takes several months until you hit the point, because you have no real way to involve a lot of people very quickly. You have to set up meetings. Every single time you have to explain in detail about the design. And here we have confirmed many projects within 6 weeks, sometimes even less for simpler projects. And as Allan has experience,
it's the difference is it's large from the 2D drawings that I started with. It was, it could have been so good to have these tools at that time, because we made a lot of mistakes only looking at 2D drawings.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and this is the last. Now we can 3D animate it, and we can, all people at the same time with the same glasses can see the same solution and discuss about it, and it's so important. Before we go to Q&A, we just want to give you a service overview, what you should expect if you should do this at your own company. For a single design review with maybe 20 end users, you're looking at investing 20 hours, even if you buy it from a company like me or you learn to do it yourself. But you can save months in the design phase. If you then do design development, where you get feedback, reiterate, and do the design review again, it requires more hours. Oh, this is DKK, sorry. Yeah, this is like 70,000 euro and 50,000 euro, approximately. And if you want to do it on production lines, you're looking at an investment of more than 100 hours for the guy that is. But it's done at the same time while you do the project, so it's quite cheap. That's it for our presentation.
Thank you very much, Milot and Allan. And you stopped earlier than expected. Great, because then there's more room for questions. Please give me a hand of sign, and I will bring you the microphone. There is one. Join you. Please say your name and what you do so people understand it. I will hold it for you.
My name is Valérie. I'm a consultant in AR, based in France. I'm working a lot with the automotive industry. Do you see, I mean, more for middle and small size enterprise, the availability of 3D models is getting better?
The what?
The availability of the 3D models, because basically you need 3D models to start doing anything you do. So do you see that there are more and more 3D models available in small and medium-sized companies, or?
Yes, but we actually use a new tool on the iPad to create our own 3D models, because sometimes the supplier will not deliver them, or it will take a long time. But generally, yes.
It's better. It's getting better.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it is. In the companies we work with, this is now a priority to do it this way, because it helps them so much. So.
Okay, thank you.
But it don't have to be 100% perfect to give a big impact on the project. Sometimes you just have to have a model of it, something who looks just a bit like it.
Yeah. And probably more to come when the Apple Vision Pro and the Meta Quest 3 is being used more often, because they also have depth sensors and you can scan the room and stuff. So it might also help get models for small and medium companies. More questions? There's one. All right, I will hold it for you.
Yeah, thank you guys for a great presentation. I think it was good insights. I work for a university college where we educate students in the automation area, and this is very interesting. In terms of education, I see a limit in using HoloLens, but there might be alternatives. What do you suggest for small companies and also for educational programs to use for this test?
Oh, we recommend HoloLens. I actually teach at the University of Denmark, the Technical University of Denmark, in automation and Industry 4.0 courses, where I teach exactly how to use the HoloLens. They have bought HoloLenses based on this. For us, it's the best technology.
All right, we still have time for another question. And if not, that is totally fine. Thank you again for, Milot, Salihu, and Allan Carstensen for your presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.